Patreon.com fighting words. Love the boys, support the boys, and you know that the only way to really do that is to give them basically give us money. We need the money. £2 a month, £5 a month, £10 a month. And support for this podcast, as always, is brought to us by our boys at Market Squawk, powered by livesquawk.co.uk, and Xbrain for all of your supplementation needs from our Norwegian brothers. Enter promo code fighting words to save 20% at checkout. Now, the returning guest, Semper Fi himself, JAMEL Herring. Very, very excited to have you back. How are you doing? Oh, mate,
I'm good.
Buzzing to have you. Always buzzing to have you. Like, you're absolute gem to have. Like,
I'm good. I'm in a great space. I'm in a great mood. I'm just happy, man. I'm just happy with the way things have been going so far this year. So I can't complain. And for everyone out there watching, please tune into this podcast. These guys are great. They've been great to me since day one. I just want to put that out there. And this will not be, I always say this will not be the last time on this podcast. I will be back. I'll guarantee I will have more news in the future. I want to share, and I want to share it with you guys, you know.
Absolute pleasure to have you. And to be honest, after the first time you was on, like, you are in contention for the Russ Amber Guest of the Year award. We had to give it to, we have to name it the Russ Amber Award. Otherwise, that dude just dominates it and just keeps it for everyone. Like, he's just,
right.
We were just saying about it, like the Shakur and Haney thing. Like, right. They've been proper going back and forth, haven't they?
Hey, I've been there. I've been there with Shakur. You guys know. Listen, I try to. They even brought my name in it. And I was like, listen, I'm trying to stand to clear of that. I've had my share of the back and forth with Shakur. And me and him
I'm behind the desk now, guys. Leave me
be. Leave me be for now, man.
So with that, like, from your opinion as a fighter, as a manager, everything, like, is that Devin just basically throwing his weight around, or is that because, like, the one of the most iconic pictures of the past few years is that picture of Shakur kind of in the background looking at Devin like he's a snack in the ring.
Yeah,
like you can just see where that's going, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I can say it's a bit of both. I believe he is throwing his weight around. Rightfully so, though. He is undisputed champion, and of course, he has a target on his back. And I can understand where Shakur coming from about, you know, his work and things of that nature. But at the same time, it's like sometimes if you have to sacrifice at times if you want to get things that you really, really want. I mean, we can go through the history books.
Yeah.
In order for Floyd Mayweather to become Money Mayweather, he had to go through that whole fight with Oscar De La Hoya. He had to sacrifice. But he believed in his skill set. And then after that, look, I mean, history tells it all. I mean, Floyd could call any fight. The man did like 2 retirements, came back, still had it, you know, after Ricky had and still called his shots and things of that nature. So I believe, you know, sometimes you got to make sacrifices in order to get to the bigger goal. But again, I'm not in Shakur Stevenson's shoes. I don't know, you know, what exactly he wants or he's asking for at least and things of that nature. So it's one of those things where I don't put too much emphasis in because every fighter is different. Every fighter's career is differently. Every fighter moves differently. So, but again, if it's someone like me, I probably would take that quarter, that 25%, because again, I would look at it from my own eyes. I'm looking like, hey, you beat Devin Haney, you know, the money's gonna be rolling anyway. Then it's gonna come. This money's gonna come. It's definitely gonna come in. So it's one of those things from what I'm seeing, but. Only time will tell if it's a real offer or if it's a bluff. Only time will tell.
I mean, from Shakur's standpoint, right? He is a spectacular talent, and if he takes that 25%, like you say, and he does beat Haney, his star, his shine eclipses Haney tenfold because he's something different. I don't want to be rude about Devin, but there's something that's very hard to warm to with Devin. He's a fantastic fighter. He's an immense talent, but there's just something missing where that isn't that with Shakur. Shakur's got that X factor. He's got something about him where you just like,
right. And then you also got to include his accolades from past that fight. Before that fight happens, you got to look at it like this. He's a champion at featherweight. He's a unified champion at super featherweight. He could be basically undisputed, you know what I'm saying, champion at lightweight. So when you include all the accolades he's done, if he fights and beats Devin, then of course, I mean, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit 100%.
I mean, speaking of Haney, like, because I wanted to get you on, but it just didn't work due to children, life, and etc. How did you feel? Exactly. You know what I mean? Well, he's not, but he's 12.
Take your time, brother.
I was saying that exact same thing today. I was saying, hey, dude, keep away from the marriage thing for a bit. Chill with it. Have your fun. Do you think that Haney beat Loma, or do you think Loma beat Haney? Because from my perspective, you watch the highlights, it's all Loma. Yeah. You watch that fight over and over again, it was all Loma. Like for me, it was close. I don't know.
Listen, I love Devin, and I'm good friends with Lomachenko as well. I was actually in the arena, so from where I was sitting at, I thought that Lomachenko, I thought he pulled it off, but I wasn't mad at the decision because again, it was a close fight. And we all know close fights, they're all going to have those swing rounds that can go either way depending on what the judge is looking at the time. So I'm not mad at that. So I can't call it a robbery. You know what I mean? But at the same time, yes, I thought Lomachenko just did enough to secure the victory, in my opinion. But again, I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad with the decision. I felt for Lomachenko. It's crazy because I actually waited literally till everything was cleared out. Even after the post press conference that Lomachenko did, and I pulled Lomachenko to the side, and I shared my words with him, and because Lomachenko, he's always been kind to me in my own career. Even though we never crossed paths in terms of being in the ring, but we always, of course, being with Top Rank, we always see each other around when we're in the same city. So I told him to just keep his head up, and I wished him the best of luck. And again, Lomachenko is a phenomenal fighter. I don't want to take anything away from what he's done. He has a Hall of Fame career, despite what anyone can say out there. He does have a Hall of Fame career. But I get it. His whole main goal is to become undisputed. And I do hope that he may get that opportunity again. What is that, 130? Because he can make 130 still, super featherweight or whatever, or a lightweight. But again, I thought from that night, I thought Lomachenko won the fight. But when I watched it back, I can kind of see where it was close at, or some swing rounds with the other way, or this way or that way. So I'm not going to argue, complain about the decision.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, from the fans' perspective, the eye-catching stuff was all Loma. Haney did a fantastic job, right? I'm not, like you say, it wasn't a robbery, but you can watch that fight over and over again, sound on, sound off. It just seems like Loma had it 2 rounds.
Especially with that left hand. That left hand was just target practice all night, in my opinion. And one thing, it's like you said though, about Devin, he's not a bad fighter. He's actually a really good fighter.
He's an amazing fighter.
But it's some things you kind of look at it like, I don't know yet, because we seen how he looked against Lomachenko being a southpaw. Imagine with a guy like a Gervonta Davis, or again we put out earlier, Shakur Stevenson.
Yep.
Who's younger, probably more sharper than what Lomachenko is at now in his career. And bigger. And it seemed like with Shakur, it's like one of those guys you got to watch out for, because it seemed like as he got bigger, he probably got strong. He probably got stronger. Yeah. Just look at his last
young
fight.
Too, right?
And it makes it's more scary because he's hungry. He's still hungry. He still has that appetite for fighting. It's not like a fighter who's done it all and is like, okay, it's just another fight. No, for Shakur, every fight for him means something, and he's like, the bigger, the better for him, and that's what brings the better Shakur Stevenson out of him. The bigger the fight.
100%, 100%, and like Shakur is something special. That we'll see Shakur fight anyone at lightweight.
Yeah,
like if it's not Devin, we'll take Tank. If it's not Tank, we'll insert the list.
And you've seen him go down the line. It's not like a guy. It's not like Shakur's not a guy where. I can say he's not a picky dude where he doesn't feel he feels like he's above fighting a certain level of fighter. He's not like, for him, he just loves to fight. So he's seen it. He called out Isaac Cruz. He called out George Kambosos. He was literally going down the line at one point before his last fight. So that's why I don't knock him for who he fought, because he was literally trying to call for Zepeda, Kambosos, Cruz, and this one and that. When he was going on Jermaine Ortiz and this one, and Jermaine Ortiz is somebody that I work with now in terms of management. So I would like to make that fight for Jermaine, but then the whole thing that Jermaine had, sadly, with the whole weight issues and that nature. So we're trying to work on that now. But again, Shakur Stevenson is like one of those guys. you can't keep him way too long because okay, if you call him out, he's gonna call your bluff. Okay, let's fight. That's just him. That's just him. He just wants to fight.
That's why we love him. This is it, right?
I'm not mad. Listen, I'm not mad at him. He did it with me. I mean, as soon as I got out the ring against Carl Frampton, Monday morning, I had an email from his team and the lawyers like, listen, we're your mandatory. You got 30 days to decide. It took me about a week. I was like, okay, you know what? Okay, this is serious. I'm not gonna sit and wait on it for 30 days to play the game. Okay, whatever. Let's just do it. I'm not because I'm telling you, I don't run from nobody. I don't care how big of a threat it is. It's boxing. It's a sport. That's how I look at it. It's a sport. At the end of the day, if people want to see it, okay, throw me in it. People want to see it.
Ooh, that reminds me. Last time you was on, we spoke Tio and Taylor. Dude, yes. How we all were. I think most of us were like, Josh is probably going to do a number.
Yeah, we weren't. But thinking about it, we weren't surprised about if Teofimo had the skill set. We was all thinking about if Teofimo had the right mindset to go against a guy like Josh Taylor.
All that build up said completely the contrary to even that.
Crazy interviews.
You guys can understand though, because I called that card up. You guys know for Sky. I was in the fighting meeting, so I'm thinking like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's gonna end well for Teal because the way he's acting. But listen to the fighting meeting. I wish you guys were in there. That was probably just entertaining at the fight. Let's be honest. but listen to his father, and they were saying they still had the confidence in the belief that they were gonna go in there and beat Josh, and they certainly went in there, and of course in the beginning, maybe mid rounds, it probably went back and forth a bit, but those late rounds, you definitely started to see the tide really take a turn. And when I look at each other, like, because I'm looking at the other guys from ESPN side, like the like Andre Ward and Tim Bradley. I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh, this is not going the way that we thought it might look. And it's not a knock against Josh Taylor, because Josh Taylor is a phenomenal fighter. He's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
But again, Teofimo showed the Teofimo that we all learned to love and respect coming up in the rankings, and he came out and did a fantastic job.
See, now for me, anytime anyone compares themselves to a biblical figure and then compares their modern life issues again to a biblical figure, I'm like, this is normally not going to go that well.
It's got the right mindset. But
he pulled it out. You compare yourself to Job. All good, man.
Do you?
And I told him. I said Tio. Because I spoke to him. It's a funny story. I think I was probably the first person he told, at least outside the ring, that he was retiring, because he comes out and again because me and Teofimo are good friends. I'm good friends with Josh Taylor, so I actually like to wait for the guys to come out the ring, and I show my my respect and gratitude. So I waited. I let Tio do his whole celebration. He comes out, and he said, and I was like, I say, hey man, I grabbed him and said, listen, this is the Teofimo that the people love to see. We don't care for the other stuff, the antics and what you say and this and that, but they love to see what you do in the ring. We need more of this. He looks at me, he says, oh, thanks, JAMEL, but I think I'm gonna retire. I'm like, what? I'm like, you just had the best performance of your career. Why? But he was like set, like, no, I think I'm gonna retire. But I'm like, all right, Tio, like, man, when you get back down to the earth, please, come talk to me, bro. But don't retire. I think it's a tactic, though. I think honestly, truthfully, going what he's going through with everything with his personal life, with his with his ex-wife and of that nature. I think if you ask me, I think I seen somebody pointed out even on social media. I think that it's just a tactic to have an easier blow from the from the courts looking in terms of maybe child support, things of that nature. Who knows? Hey, I'm not an active fighter anymore, so I'm not making this money anymore. You get it?
But you are a manager, and you're going to have situations where you're going to have this phone call.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's how I look at it. I'm not an active fighter, Your Honor. I don't make the same income anymore. I just retired. And then once all that's out the way, you might see the return of Teofimo Lopez. And I'm pretty sure, listen, the sanctioning bodies, they're in the business. They're going to go say, hey, listen, you come back, we'll easily put you as a mandatory to get your belt back. You gotta look at it. I don't like say he's too it wasn't a bad performance. It wasn't one of those things where, like you say, like you said before, that he still have it. So it's no reason for you to leave, my man. There's no reason for you to leave.
And he's only 25.
The world's in your hand. Yeah, exactly. The world's in the palm of your hand. There's no need for you to leave. They always say that. Tank Davis said he was going to retire by the time he was 30. Now they're saying he could be the face of boxing. You think Tank Davis is going to leave boxing? No. I'm sorry.
Do you think that Tank will become the face of boxing?
I think
he has the potential to be.
I think I'm saying he's on a pathway of that. He definitely brings in the crowd. I think honestly, let's be honest, in their the way they was looking at it, if Ryan Garcia would have won that fight, they would have put him as the face.
My God, he would have been Oscar 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what they mean by the face is that the guys that are drawing in the crowds and putting asses in seats. That I give them. That part, Tank has done a phenomenal job at that. Now, the next step, though, as we all know, because it's boxing, they're going to want to see him now. Since you made that claim, now they're going to want to see you fight the fights that we all been asking for. They're going to want to see you in there with a guy like Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, and so they go and that's what really creates the face of boxing. This guy, okay. Yes, we know you're a big draw. You're a great draw. You put asses in seats. You've done phenomenal with your pay-per-view numbers against Ryan Garcia. Okay, but you had to keep that momentum going now. You know, you can't just sit back and be comfortable. You got to keep that momentum going. So with that being said, people are going to want to see him fight, you know, the other bigger names out there and the other champions, well, the other champion, at least in the division, which is Devin Haney. But yeah, that's what's going to make the face of boxing. Because again, Canelo had to go to do the same thing. You know, he fought Floyd, he came up short, but then again, he kept coming back. He kept fighting this champion, that champion. You can sit there and say, okay, Canelo may have cherry picked a few guys. Let's be honest, Floyd.
Why wouldn't you?
One of my favorite,
everyone does.
Floyd's one of my favorite fighters of all time. He's done it as well. So I can't be so hard on Canelo and not acknowledge that. Okay, when Floyd had opportunities, he did pick his, you know, who he wanted to fight and certain styles that made his style look better.
Why do you think we don't actually? Because you know, Tank is not much of a talker. He's not. He's not calling people out or anything like that. But the people around him, they know what they have. Why do you not think that we get them calling for Devin much more vocally? Why do you or Shakur or anyone? You don't really hear the Tank lot. I guess the marketability is he fights anyone anywhere.
That's what you said, marketability.
Yeah.
Why some of these guys? I'm not saying Tank. You know, it could be any. It could be just one individual on the team. All it takes is one individual to get in your head and be like, no, don't do that. Come over here. But like you just put that marketability. If I'm making millions of dollars fighting whoever,
it's true.
You know, that's good. I was you know, crazy thing about it. I actually learned that from guys like Adrian Broner. Yep. True story. I never forget. Adrian came to me one day. This is after I had lost to Denis Shavakov. I never forget this. He said, Jamel, if they're going to offer you the same purse and amount of money to fight these different individuals on the list, but it's three names on the list, but you're getting paid the same amount to fight either one of these guys, I'm taking the least resistance. And that's how boxing is some of these guys today. They if you're going to offer me $3 million, but I got to pick out of these three names, I'm probably going to pick the path of least resistance. And that's what a lot of these guys do today. They pick if you're gonna offer. So with that being, and that comes from, and that, you know, what's the blame for that? That actually boxing is actually the blame for that, because think about it. When you get, like, let's put Ryan Garcia in it again. When you get a promoter that will spoil a fighter and they're giving them tons of money before they even really do anything in boxing, what's that going to create? It's going to create a monster, of course. Like Ryan Garcia. Why would I want to go fight? Even this guy, I never listen. I like Ryan, but I've never seen it in the era. We're in the era of boxing where you get guys who have mandatory positions to fight for a world title, and they're saying, "Oh no, I'm fine. I don't need that. I don't need that because I can go over here and I can fight this guy for maybe more than what you're giving me for your title." And this is probably a easier route. And
dude,
the people.
How many times has Munguia been mandatory? Munguia has been mandatory for 15 years. He's never fought for a title.
Munguia was the guy who actually came in at the right time. He got the belt over Saddam Ali, and then after that, nothing. His career has been like just on the same path since then. Like, I can't tell you now one significant name on his resume. But
Yeah,
again,
like Derenchenkov was a good fight, but Derenchenkov beat him. That's like,
yeah,
do what you want. Like he did beat him. You got a very lucky
yeah.
decision on there, Hamey. But yeah, I'm with you on that one. With
But that's what I mean. But a lot of these guys, a lot of these young guys, I'm telling you, you got to think about it. When we was coming up watching boxing, you rarely seen a prospect on any type of TV network. Now you got so many things from apps and everything, highlighting all these kids. These kids get a little bit of exposure. They take it, and I'm not knocking it. I mean, hey, it's different era, but it's not how like you had to literally fight and earn your way just to get on a big card or a big promoter or just to get to the co-main event and then to the main event. Now these kids, now you see them, they'll be on the undercards, but they're getting showcased, they're getting interviewed, they're getting a lot of more exposure than we have gotten 20 years ago for prospects. And then more importantly, they're getting paid a lot more than what guys were making. Listen, Errol Spencer can tell you as well. Me and Errol signed with Al Heyman the same time after the 2012 Olympic Games. Errol Spencer's first purse was $3,500. $3,500 in his first 35. Yeah, it was $3,500. That was his first purse. Now you get kids. They're making maybe they have no Olympic pedigree or anything behind them, but they have a good following, or maybe on social media, or they had a decent amateur career that gets recognized, and these kids are getting $5,000, $6,000 up for their first person. If they get with a good promoter like an Eddie Hearn or a top ranked Bob. So yeah, it's different from 10 years ago. Like again, I'm looking like, man, I had to fight and claw just to get on TV. Now every time you see a kid, I've been to the Olympics. I fought guys like like Josh Taylor in the amateurs and all these great notable champions today. And it's like, but I had to still earn. Like I remember fighting in venues where it was just me and my family. I didn't have it. Yeah, but now with today's not these kids. If they get a good bet, I love to see it because I want to see kids out there, getting more and being happy and fulfilling their dreams. But again, some of these kids that get spoiled and it's like, hey, I don't gotta fight that guy. I'm gonna make a good. I gotta guarantee my contract. I get this minimum to go fight over here regardless. So that's what we see today.
I mean, this is the argument. This is the argument we've had for a while with Boxer and Sky. Because Boxer, they have their guys, like Ben Whitaker and Fraser Clark and that, and they're, 3-0, 4-0, and they're co-mains or mains of cards and that already. And they're getting pushed to the top, and like even is it Lauren Price? I think she second fight was
debuted on a co-main.
Debuted on a co-main, and it's just like crazy. You're building them all up to here, but the drop off is going to be so quick.
You're diluting, you're watering down the product, and what it mean. Like again, I seen the Ben Whitaker highlights floating around, and they weren't the greatest highlights. They weren't the I mean, he's having fun. He's doing what he does or whatever. Fine, cool. But I said
he's supposed to at that stage of his career, though.
Exactly. You're supposed to beat these guys. You're not supposed to play with your food and you're supposed to get these guys out of there early. But when you showboat and do all these crazy things early in your career, when it's really time for you to step up and you may look mediocre or even take a loss, that media attention that you was craving for, it's going to hit you bad. I mean, think about it. Prince Nassim, one of my favorite fighters growing up, is still to this day haunted by that Barrera fight. Just the way he acted. This goes the way he acted in that one fight. That one fight. Every year he's reminded when that anniversary comes up. He's always reminded about that loss. 100%. Every year.
I sent young Sam, who's 20, the build-up documentary to that Barrera Prince fight, because like Naz was my guy. I'm 41. Like Naz was my first true sporting icon. Like he was my guy, and I remember watching that and being like, "Oh, this is going to be terrible." He like rented Bing Crosby's house. He had two trainers taking turns in between. It was just like this was never going to go well.
The punches back to the house and everything. It was crazy. It was more of a reality show.
It was a spectacle. It's where it all started. Yeah.
But that's again. But that's what I mean. Like when you get guys like that and don't like, hey, it can backfire. It can backfire on you. I mean, even guys like Tyson today. Mike Tyson still gets reminded every year of the Buster Doggins anniversary. Despite what he did before that, Mike Tyson's always reminded by everything about that one fight every year.
Yeah. And but then on the other side to it, I mean, the US boxing viewership is kind of, it's a little bit smaller, like comparatively per the population to what we have in the UK now. The UK has kind of picked up, but then like we have a fighter, for example, a friend of ours, Dan Aziz, European, British, and Commonwealth light heavyweight champion. Going back to what you were saying before, he's told me before that he's lost money on fights coming up before he got his deal with Boxer and Sky, to the point where he would have to pay the guy that he would be fighting, and then the guy would be so banged up that he would actually have to drive him to the airport afterwards. Right. But what that does, that teaches him that's taught him so much more about the business, how hard it was to get to where he is now, and he's now on the cusp of coming into world title shots and stuff like that. He's trained by Buddy McGirt. He's very much so an up and coming.
That's a great point. That's a great point though too. That's a great point too. When like in terms of the promoters, you can't, when you putting guys on, like, okay, for instance, like you just pointed out, say if I come out to the Olympics or whatever, or I had a great amateur background and I medaled, but all of a sudden, okay, you want to move me properly at the pro level, but you don't want to rush me. So with that being said, is okay on my end. Okay, you put me as a co-main event of the rip. I'm gonna expect a good amount of money. Yep. But on the flip side, your opponent is going to now expect more money than what they're worth. You could have a tomato can in there, but now they're going to ask for big money because, like, hold up, I'm fighting in a co-main event with this guy as well. Yep. And this guy is a risk that I'm fighting. I need to get paid, so I can understand. Yeah, now you got to pay. Now you probably got to take a pay cut because you lost money, because now you got to pay the opponent more. And I've been in situations like that as a manager where, like, I'm trying to get a fight for my guy. Of course, he's a good fighter. Got a great amateur background, but also on the flip side, the opponent and their team know this as well. So now I have to come out more money than I want to pay for a guy who's going to get knocked out in the first 1 or 2 rounds. It's crazy, but that's the monster. That's the beast of nature of the sport.
It is. I mean, and like Eddie's learned his lesson, I think, now with Campbell Hatton. Like, they started with Campbell Hatton so aggressively, right? We saw Campbell like co-mains. We saw him arguably take a L but get a very lucky decision on the Usyk AJ undercard. And now they've moved Campbell much earlier in the card, right? You still got the Hatton name. We're not going to muck about like this anymore. We have to build you up. Because
he's been on a few of the next gen cards as well recently, hasn't he?
As he should be. He's got barely any amateur experience. He's not an Olympian. He's the son of a great fighter, and he's a good fighter himself. But he's got to learn the trade.
They were just pushing him a little too fast, and the way Eddie was pushing him was he almost ran into a wall. He almost ran into a wall, and it could have got scary. Where he did take an official loss, and then all that hard work of fighting, of using that name goes away. So Eddie, like I said, Eddie's not a bad promoter, but I think he's going to do the same thing. Also, if you look at it with Andy Cruz, he's trying to force Andy Cruz's names on guys that Andy may have beaten as an amateur. But let's be honest, we've seen the exhibitions that Andy has with a pro style. He's not there yet. He's not there yet to be fighting, guys who are basically contenders or ex-champions that are seasoned and skilled, because that can turn out bad for Eddie in terms of that on that side as well. So he has to be careful how he pushes some of these fighters, because yes, they may have a name and they may have did maybe great things in a past life as an amateur, but at the same time, are they really ready for that next level? Because once you get in front of those cameras, now people will start dissecting you. Campbell Hatton, probably not a bad kid, but you guys see it. He was taking a lot of heat off his career. Nowhere near, no, and he's not getting that same love that Ricky had as a kid. Let's be honest.
He's a very different. But all of the sons are. Conor Benn, completely different entity to Nigel. Eubank Jr., completely different to Senior. It's just what it is. Like, you're the son. You're not them. And
you're not them. Evan Holyfield, another good friend of mine. He took a KO loss, and is
a bad one too.
and you know, they'll quickly tell you. Listen, fans. I respect boxing fans because they're honest. They're ruthless at times, but they're honest. They'll tell you, you're nothing like your father. That's it. You're not him. You're not him. Oh,
Rahman Jr. He lost to that influencer dude, right?
Oh, yeah,
We're never going to see him again.
Yeah. I think it's crazy because he could have made some real money fighting guys like, you know, that Jake Paul. Then he had that, but then when that fell out, and then after that he took a loss. It was, you know how it goes with boxing, man. People don't want to hear it no more.
It's hard. It's hard for them to step out of the shadow, isn't it? When they're getting packaged as the second coming of who their father is, but then they can't step out of the shadow because they've got no time to prepare. And
it's too late. Yeah, like Conor Bennett. He can't hit the reset button now. You know, he's made his name for himself, whether it's good or bad. You know, he got into the whole trouble, as we already know. And it's like, you know, you keep calling for these bigger names, and some may feel that you didn't mean it. Now people feel like you may not deserve them or you're ready for them. But it's like, what can you do? You can't go back to fighting tomato cans and tune-ups. Now you gotta keep pushing forward.
Yep, you've got to come back into a inferno of a fight to come back. We know you've been out the ring for 18 months plus. We know why you've been out the ring for 18 months plus. You've got to come back and earn the fans back, dude.
Yeah, exactly. You basically got to earn the people's trust again. And
that's as a manager, though, as a manager, say you get a junior come up and he signs with Semper Fi, right? Would you then insist on you're your own thing? You may have the name, you may have the surname, but we can't hinge it off of that, even though that is the quickest way to get them the eyes. That as a manager, that's like the core of what you need to do. You need to get them the best fight, the best money, the best exposure.
I feel like this. We always look at my partner Jerry and I. We always look at things like this first. Like, okay, how old are they? If you're an 18-year-old, 19-year-old hot kid, there's no need to rush you. There's no need to rush you. Even matter of fact, I had a conversation with the matchmakers got top ranked recently about a kid over the weekend, and he was like, "Listen, the kid is 19 years old." And matter of fact, this is Abdullah Mason that you guys see.
Yep.
The kid wants to step up. Great. He wants to step up. I commend that. I commend any fighter that wants to step up. But it takes the promoter now and the management to be like, hold on, let's kind of slow you down. You're 19. We don't want to push you too hard because you'll win the fight, but you may take a lot of damage doing it. And it's like you're still young. We don't want, because let's be honest. Look at guys like Gabe Flores. Gabe Flores, youngest kid, I think it was 16 years old, he got signed by Top Rank. And already he's taken so much, he's taken so much punishment over the just past 2 years in his career. And I don't even think the kid's even old enough to even buy a drink. So it's like that's one of the things you gotta
his brain's not formed yet.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta look at your fighter, you don't, even though it's crazy to say it, but you gotta look at them as an investment. You gotta watch your investment. You gotta watch your investment. Do you want to ruin your investment because you want to get a quick buck right now, or do you want to let it marinate and build and where the money that you want becomes on a consistent basis, and it's like it's flowing in now, but at the same time, you did it the right way where your fighter now, he's more seasoned. He's more seasoned now. He's a better fighter. He's a better fighter overall. And he knows he has so many like fights to get him prepared for the bigger fights. He knows how to deal with it. Instead of you get a kid who doesn't have, like you pointed out with Campbell, he doesn't have the experience, but you want to rush him now because he has a name. It's like, okay, what did we do here? Because now he's getting exposed by guys that we consider as cab drivers, and it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Well, they try and emulate, because like AJ coming up was managed impeccably, right? They had him on big stadium shows in the UK, 90,000 people at Wembley, but they had him early on the card, but he still got to feel what it was like to be in that stadium. So by the time he's head of the bill, he's felt it before. He's felt the energy. He's seen it. It's slightly different, but he's used to it, like you're saying. So it's just how you have to develop them.
Man, I'm telling you,
it's such a hard job that you got.
Yeah, but we're hatting on that, on the Usyk and AJ card, bro. I was saying to myself, I was like, no. The first thing I looked at, because like I said, you guys have one of the best fight atmospheres on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I look at, every time I look at when you guys fight over there overseas in the UK, I always say to myself, let me look at the crowd. I look at the crowd. I'm like, man, it's crazy over there, man.
Yep.
The energy level is crazy. But then when I seen that Hatton was placed in the middle of that crowd, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, it's kind of a bit. It's a bit kind of early for him to like. I always said to myself, I would love to fight, even to this day. I would love to fight in the UK stadium, because these are things that for me, with a guy like me, as you grow also in the boxing, you grow to appreciate that type of level, and people actually want to come and see. Because like I said it earlier, I came from a time where there was nobody in the stand, so of course. When I got to that level, it makes me appreciate it more. But when you give a kid that type of attention that early, it can go bad in so many ways. Like again, he doesn't know how to deal with that energy, or the bright lights is just too much for him, and and it's like, man, like, and then when you come out and do a mediocre performance, that same tens of thousands of people that was in that crowd, they're like, oh, this kid, this kid, he isn't what we thought it was. And then now that kid being young and not being mentally strong yet, he doesn't know how to deal with that.
Speaking of the probably some of the most mentally strong, Canelo and little Charlo, were you shocked? I'm still shocked. I'm sitting there like, this is the wrong Charlo, dude. This is like, I thought Big Charlo was getting it. Like, what's happening?
Hey, well, that was happening. I'm not mad at it. I'm surprised. No. I'm still surprised. I'm still surprised. I mean, again, Canelo's still the face of boxing. So when he actually put out the post in Instagram or whatever that this was happening, okay, this is real. But that goes again and show you, the face of boxing, what he can do. But yeah, I was surprised. Like you pointed out, I thought we got the wrong one, but it's definitely a great fight. I'm going to tune in.
It could have just still been an admin error. It's only one letter difference, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I saw the poster because they are twins, right? And I was just like, oh, yeah. Canelo Charlo. Makes sense. PBC, all good. And then you read the post and you're like, oh, no, this is little Charlo. This is undisputed.
Undisputed versus undisputed, yeah.
Hold on. What happened to the big one? Oh, what do you think happens with that? Do you think, like, because even little Charlo, he's what, 6'1"? He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude. I think, honestly, little Charlo, JAMEL, that's what we call little JAMEL, call him by his name on now. But Mel, he's actually really, really technically sound.
Amazing fighter.
You already know he already has the mindset that he beats anybody. That's that. And his mind of a matter. Will it be easy task? No, absolutely not. It won't be easy task. It's Canelo, but at the same time, I give him hope, and I give him a chance because again, people are pointing out that Canelo hasn't been looking the same since the Bivol fight. He didn't.
No.
He didn't. They don't think he did it. They don't think he did what he's supposed to do against Ryder. He came straight with it against Bivol. So you gotta look. I look at I look at everything in terms of if I would do if I was training a fighter or managing a fighter. How would I look at it, or what do I see in this fight that makes me convince me that that JAMEL can take on this task? But I think it's one of those things where me personally, Canelo's he's one of my favorite fighters, but I just feel like I don't think he has that hunger he maybe had back in 2013 when he was fighting against a Floyd Mayweather. I think he's accomplished so much that if Canelo wanted to say, listen, I'm done with boxing, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Fair enough. You've had a long career, dude. We've seen you go,
exactly. So you got to look at things like that also. But then I guess, like I pointed out with Shakur Stevenson, those guys that are hungry, those are the most dangerous fighters that you don't want to really, run into in an alley because these guys are going to do whatever they got to do to get whatever they want that you may have. So I look at things like that also. Like I said, they always say boxing is 80% mental, 20% physical. Yep. So you got to look at that aspect as well. Does Canelo really, not saying that he doesn't have it, but does he mentally care to really go out there and,
It also depends on the mindset of what Charlo turns up because they can be so aggro. Both of those boys immediately could just get crazy in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
and Canelo responds with aggro, right? So if that goes off, you're gonna get a very different.
Because he did it. He did it with the Caleb Plant situation. Right? Yeah, we will say that because
we can get English speaking Canelo again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When he's speaking English, it's a problem.
That's when you're in trouble. You're in trouble when he's whipped that out. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot to consider. But again, another, like I said, I think it's sad for us to say because we would like to see it more often. But I mean, 2023 has probably been a great year of boxing up to this point in a long time. And I say it's sad to say because we would like to say it more often, but you keep running into these roadblocks. Even now, again, with like say with Shakur and Devin Haney.
Yep.
We rather see less fighting on social media and more in the ring. And since social media has been getting big over the years, it's sad to say that we've been seeing more of that on social media than we have on TV.
It's the platform though. It lets people see it. It gets them engaged. It gets them happy. But we're 3 weeks away from Crawford and Spence, and like, what more could we possibly want? Like that's arguably the best fight of the year. Could very easily be fight of the year. Them two boys are pit bulls. They scrap. Yeah. It will either be a snoozer chess match or it'll be a war. There's
I think it's gonna be a war. I think it'll be a war. There's so much behind it, so much on the line. I think, and so much personally on the line for those two individuals in the ring. Like I said, I'm very close friends with Arrow. I check up on him during his camp. I check up on Bud during his camp. Actually, Bud and Bowman asked me, I think a week ago, to come out and visit the camp. So I might do that before he goes to Las Vegas for the fight.
Should.
Just to check in. But I'm telling you straight up, you both straight up right now, and anyone who's watching this, I am not going to that fight. And I tell you why, because listen, you guys know me. I talk to anybody. So if you stop me for an interview and you ask my opinion on that fight, I do not want to be that guy. Listen, I have a feeling in my mind. I'm sorry to say, but I have a feeling in my mind that it could turn out the way Lomachenko and Haney turned out, which being a close fight, but depending what side you on, they're going to call a robbery, and I do not want to be interviewed by that individual that thinks it was a robbery because their guy didn't win or their guy came up short. And I'm so close friends with both individuals. I don't want to go out there and say the wrong thing about, because I'll be honest. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'm watching this fight from home because I hate leaving the venue and you guys know all the leaders out there. Yeah. And they're just
we are them people. What are you talking about? We're the ones.
Exactly. You guys know best. Yeah. Hey, Jamel, what you do?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Let me just twist exactly what you just said to make it sound really good, and we can do a thumbnail just to get some clicks. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Listen, I love them to death. My friends at Fight Hype, they're great for that. Yeah,
they are.
I was like, God, and then even at the weigh-in, if I'm at the weigh-in, boom, I get called by. I never forget. I'm at the weigh-in, I get stopped. Josh Taylor. I'm talking about Josh Taylor's fight, and Josh Taylor walks in and gives me a hug. I'm like, but I'm like, at that time, I'm thinking, Josh is probably going to get the win because he has a stronger mindset. Yeah. The Teofimo walks in as I'm having this conversation, gives me a hug. We sitting there talking and everything. I'm like, damn. See, I'm like, listen. Teofimo could be a great guy when he wants to be, but it's like I'm not sure about how his mindset going into this fight. But he shocked a lot of us, and I congratulate him after. But again, I do not want to be that guy that had to say, "Oh, Jamel, what's your opinion?" I don't want to be that guy, man. Somebody gets knocked out. I don't want to be that guy.
All right, Jamel. On that note, I'm not going to make you pick a winner.
Honestly, I will say this though. If I'm being fair, I will say I always go back and forth with that fight because it's so. Those guys is just like you said. It's the best fight. It's the best fight you can make a boxing today. And those guys are just so good, but they're so different, and it's just like which fight game is going to take over though? Because again, they keep saying that Arrows. I mean, that Terrence is a slow starter, but sometimes you can say that that DJ could be a slow starter as well. So it's one of those things where whoever gets the train running a little bit faster than normal, I think, and imposes their will, they're going to take over. Because it's one of the things where I would say, okay, we all see Arrow's been known just to be like basically an immovable object. When he gets going, when he presses forward, he's coming. He's coming the whole entire fight.
He's like a tsunami.
But exactly. But it's one of the things. Okay, you have to ask. Okay, but what if, say, for instance, if Arrow he can't impose that same will and has to make an adjustment. Who makes the better adjustments? Who goes to plan B and C? Because I'm telling you right now,
There's no one better than Terrence at doing that.
Yeah, they're not going to be able. They're both not going to be able to fight one way. Those guys are so good, and it's like there's so many questions that I believe this fight is going to answer about them both. Because someone pointed at a great thing as well yesterday. I read everything. Well, Errol Spence really has never been in a fight where he wasn't the favorite. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And that as of recently, they moved Terrence Crawford to being the favorite. So it's a lot because for the most part, Errol was always a huge favorite in his fights with anybody, a huge favorite. And it's like, man, it's a lot. And it's like, but at the same time for Bud, it's like, okay, they say on Bud's end, he's supposed to never fought. Errol, give Errol credit. Errol has cleaned out the division in terms of the champions. He's taking their belts. He's taking Kell Brook's belt. And in my opinion, and listen, Kell Brook was one of my favorite fighters.
I love Kell.
Especially after him fighting my good friend Sean Porter. I'm thinking, this guy from the UK, this guy can box his ass off. This guy is a real. He's big, he's strong, and he can box. So I'm thinking,
great timing.
Kell Brook. In my opinion, Kell Brook was actually the best welterweight during that time period until he lost to Errol Spence.
Even then, it was like 7-1 to Brook. Brook was piecing him, and then his face fell off.
I'm watching. I'm like, oh damn. I'm like, oh man, Errol's having a hard time in here. With Kell's fighting back. Kell's boxing, but then his face fell apart. Whatever you want to put it, whatever you want to call it, from the damage from that fight and the Golovkin fight, and then the Errol Spence era came in, and then Errol started basically cleaning house. So you got I look at all those things as well. So I can't really put a finger on who's going to be better than who during that fight night. But I'm just going to hey, Jamel's not going to be there for that one. I'm watching it. I'm watching it from home. But
4K,
like I said,
popcorn on. Let's go.
It's 4K. But again, I really wish those guys well. And matter of fact, between the three of us on here, I might potentially be able to fight on the rematch, so we say, because I'm working on myself now in terms of going back to one super featherweight. That's being I'm finally officially putting that out there. But that's what I've been speaking with everyone around the table. I'm close with Lou DeBella. I don't have any issues with Top Rank. Top Rank, I still, again, you guys know, I still commentate and work with Top Rank, but I look at it again. You say again, I got to put my manager's hat on, so I got to look at my own career, and it's like, if I want to get back in the mix, do I really want to jump straight into the fire, or do I want to ease my way back in to see where not only my body's at, but my mindset and how I take punches again?
What's made you think? Is it just the fire's back, or it never really left and you can't quash it?
I think it left. But then when it came back, I think commentating alone really brought it back. Because again, you're right there on the ring, so you see every fight. The big.
It must
fight,
be like
whatever.
teaching again. You're seeing it. You're explaining what's happening.
I'm learning again. I'm always keeping my mind open. And then again, when I get to sit with these fighters during the meetings, I'm like thinking like, man, and pick their brains and what they went through in training camp, and it's like, you know what? A lot of these guys, we think we're kind of similar in a lot of ways, and yet they're still pushing and going. Like again, like Lomachenko. I don't have of course, it's the skill set of Lomachenko, but like as a man, a human, I'm thinking like he goes through the same stuff that you and I go through on a daily. But you know what I'm saying? His mindset just takes him to a different level. So when I see stuff like that, it's like, you know what, Jamel, I haven't put on a ton of weight. I actually weigh maybe like I think last week I was like 142 pounds.
Easy.
I can easily make it if I just stay disciplined and do what I gotta do. But I already told myself if I come back, I want to go back to super featherweight. I feel like there's still business I didn't get to finish there. Like for one, I'm going to closely watch the Oscar Valdez and Emmanuel Navarrete fight. How that goes, because I always wanted to fight Oscar Valdez. And I don't have an issue with Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez, he's a good guy. We have no animosity, but it's one of those things as a fighter. I wanted to fight I wanted to fight everybody that was in my generation or whatever you want to call it around that time I was fighting. And he's one of the guys that I could never get to because obviously I had to go to Shakur and I missed out on that. Then Shakur ended up fighting Valdez, or I couldn't fight Miguel Burchell for whatever reason. And so I look at, let's be honest. I look at a lot of those guys and I'm thinking like, maybe if I come back, but if I do it the right way and respectfully, and get back to the title contendency. You know, why not? Right now, I'm trying to do a 3-fight deal.
Yeah.
And that seems, if you look at boxing, it seems what everybody's doing these days anyway. Lately, those are 3-fight deal. But the first fight, of course, would be, you know, see how I feel, and if I want to continue going, then we step up. We do a step up fight where we fight somebody in the rankings, and then we try to get a world title fight. And then the funny thing about it is, you guys are gonna laugh because you know I'm first for everybody.
Yeah.
But my actually like I said, even the promoters looking at guys like, you know, fighting my good friend Joe Cordina, you know, I'm like, hey, why not?
Why not?
I will go to the. I will go to the.
We'll
UK.
get you in the UK.
Yeah.
You listen. I'm just that old school fighter that's looking for a reason to come fight wherever. But like I said, Joe's been on a good roll. I like Joe. I've been watching his career. But that's just a name that was thrown out there. But it just shows you. It just goes to show you the freedom that I would have on my next run
100%.
in terms of potentially fighting, you know, talent elsewhere instead of just under one umbrella. So I'm thinking like, hey, if I could potentially have a matchup with a guy like Joe, or maybe do a look at the Lamont Roach and Hector Garcia fight. Maybe 100%. Lamont Roach wins. I'm pretty sure he would like to get his old back because I'm the only one who defeated Lamont Roach. Why not go that route for a rematch?
Why not?
Okay, I still have a great relationship. I still have a great relationship with Top Rank. We can always go back to the WBO route. So but that's what it is, being smarter about, you know, steering your career in the way you want to go.
Now, if you do come to the UK and you do fight in the UK, you have to come and do an in studio because I need your signature.
No, we're doing it. We're doing it in studio. We're doing it
100%.
You have to sign the belts like everyone does. We do a load of them. You're in.
You know what's crazy, bro? I was just looking at that and putting it in. I'm like, man, you got a lot of good shit. I gotta get my signature on. At least that WBO title, I gotta get my signature on there.
Yeah. There's all 4 of them here. There's the IBF, the WBA, the whole lot. We've got all 4.
I'm going all 4 of them. But I'm giving you guys again. I've been holding it in for a while. I have been talking with promoters and things like that nature. I'm even right now working on building. I'm already working on building a fight camp. To be honest with you guys, I'm just waiting. I'm just at the point. I'm just waiting on the contract. You know, things that nature, the business side of boxing. But my mind is already set that I want to fight again, and I'm coming back. And if I can somehow get to the UK, then so be it. I have no issue. I was actually upset with the Frampton fight because I was supposed to fight Frampton in Belfast. We were supposed to fight in London, and then that got scrapped, and that's why we went to Dubai. So, but I was more than willing to even as a champion. You guys seen it. I was more than willing to come over, come across the pond. Because for me, I don't care if I believe in myself. It doesn't matter where the fight's at. If the people demand it, I have a good following in the UK and Ireland now.
Dude, you're loved.
Grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful. Even it's crazy. Even my good friend Amir Khan was saying, "Bro, you know how you're pretty much loved in the UK. You gotta come over here." So
dude, we love our fighters. This is it. People think that we're like haters. We're not.
No, you got.
The officials, the governing bodies may be haters, but the fans, we love everyone. No, you come to the UK, we love it.
I remember when the UK and Ireland came to New York. I know it's the best time of my life. I'll never forget it. AJ versus Andy
God.
at the Garden.
Yeah,
I have never seen so many fights break out between my family in the crowd between the Irish and the UK. It was just a crazy. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But like the atmosphere was like, okay, Katie Taylor phoned that card, so of course her following was there. AJ following was there. It was just amazing. I'm like, man.
We saw Josh Kelly get a very, very fortunate draw.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the worst nights for Eddie that he's ever had. He had to have his hair replaced after that one.
Yeah.
And think about it. And remember, I had just won my world title from Ito the weekend before. So I'm thinking like, hey, if I could defend my title somewhere in the UK, like I'm all for it. That's just me. That's why I hate to see fighters do the whole. Okay, yes, it's cool that you want to have the hometown advantage and things like that, but if there's great money and you could make history and put something on your legacy, but they say, listen, I fought here, I fought there, then why not? Why not? But that's what being a world champion. No, champion of the world means to me. That means you can go anywhere around the world and fight, and the people will come out. That's what it means to me. Because you get, let's be honest, you see a lot of guys. Let's be honest with you guys. You guys the greatest. You had boxing history. You guys see a lot of fighters that have won world titles, but they can't draw. They can't draw worth a damn thing. They can't draw worth for nothing, or nobody cares to see their fights. Nobody cares.
Look at Boo Boo. Boo Boo is one of the best fighters I have ever seen.
Yeah,
he can't sell it. He can't sell a ticket. Like,
he
may be fine money wise. They've paid up for him. They've done it what they can. But like, what's happening with him? It's
a good point. It's a great point. It's a great person, and that's what I mean. I'm like, listen.
Name me a better fighter out there that's a 2-way undefeated world champion. Where is he? He's missing.
Yeah. That's a great point. When you're undefeated at that, you're undefeated, but yet still no one. You know, it's hard for you to get that fight that you want. So I feel like, but that goes to say also sometimes, like, even for myself, if I can't get the fight that I want, you know what you got to do? You got to go. I got to go on my own route and continue building my own legacy and adding names, so many names on my resume. So when people saying, listen, you need to fight him. He's the guy you need to fight because he's fought this guy. He didn't wait on. I'm not going to sit around. Like right now, people's like, why would I go back to super featherweight? Okay, why would I go to super featherweight? Because at lightweight, there's a line. There's one man right now with all the belts, and there's a line, and everyone trying. Do I really have the time? Let's be honest. Do I have the time to really sit here and fight through everybody, or can I put together a plan where the belts are in a division where they're scattered, and if I go a certain route, I may be able to land here, or there instead of trying to fight one guy that holds the keys to, you know what I'm saying, to everything.
It's amazing. You've made my day with that news, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
You really have. You've absolutely made my day on that one, champ. Dude, I'm not going to keep you anymore because it's late for us.
Listen, we can speak all day.
I know, and I don't think anything can peak the I'm going to make a comeback. Like, that's it. Like, that's done. Mic drop.
There's our clickbait title.
Listen. That's
exclusive.
That's it. Listen, I spoke to Tom Ring. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. They was looking at me crazy. I spoke to them Saturday. It was like, listen, these guys heard about the news before I broke it, so I had to come. Like, yeah, we heard you coming back, champ. I'm like, yeah, I'm easing my way into it. They was more concerned. They were saying, and I respect it. So shout out to everybody, Brad and Bruce and everyone over there at Tyrant, love you guys. But they came to me, Brad Goodman especially. Brad Goodman said, champ, you did. Why? I'm like, he's like, just why? I'm like, it's a fighter in me, I'm not. For me, it's about legacy. It's about legacy for me. I feel like there's still more that I didn't accomplish that I wanted to. And they're more concerned about, and like we should with any other fighter, they're more concerned about your health, my health. Listen, you're great at commentary. You can speak well still, So you're not punch drunk. But I'm like, it's not. It's one of those. I said, listen, Brad, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it the smart way. I'm not gonna come in. I'm not coming in to fight the killers off the rip.
Nope.
No. Let's be honest. That's stupid. But I'm like, if I got to where, and actually I negotiated to where, if I don't like the way I feel, I could just easily go back and say, you know what, let me go take a seat, take a seat behind the desk, whatever. But other than that, it's just something that I want to do, and it's like, hey,
we support you 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I said the same thing to them. I'm glad I got you guys' blessings, but
dude,
let me just take my time.
In the States, we'll be staying up. That's a 2-3 a.m. job. We'll be watching that stuff on the Sky Sports.
But yeah, you guys can put it out there that I want to go every route in the super featherweight division. I don't have any enemies. I'm not trying to call anyone out, but I just threw out some names to let you guys know that there's options that I can potentially fight in the UK. And of course, Joe holds a belt in the UK. Shout out to Joe. Joe, you're doing a great job. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. You know what I'm saying? And me and Joe been great friends since the amateurs, because he was like, I'll never forget. People don't know this, but the UK in the USA team during the matter of fact, I know Joe since 2011. During the 2011 World Games, the UK and the US, the Team USA, we had the same floor in Azerbaijan, and it's like we all clicked and we all got along. And for me, I was just happy to be around people that spoke English. I'm sorry, that's just me. and those guys, listen, those guys, they all been great. Like same thing goes with me and me and Josh Keller. We fought 2011 as well in London. We fought in London. Josh beat me by 3 points. I'm always gonna hold it against you, Josh. You beat me by 3 points, Josh. But I love him. But again, me and Josh become so great friends. Every time we see each other, you know, we always embrace. I got a lot of respect for him and his lovely wife, and that just means a fighter. I'm just a fighter. But again, if I can come out to the UK, and if Joe is that way to come out to the UK, then so be it. But I just want to put another world title on my resume, whether it's a different route or whatever. And even if I get a world title over here, and my good friend Joe has a world title, I will unify with him over there. I am not a diva. I am not a diva. I don't have issues of making the best fight possibly for the people of boxing, but that just the mindset. I'm not saying it'll happen, but you guys get it. It's just the mindset.
You put it out into the universe, it's only going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't happen unless you do.
Yeah, that's just how I am. I'm like, hey, I mean, again, I literally got it's the hunger is back so much that I literally just I was watching Joe's last fight with Rocket Mom, and I watched. You know, I've been watching Hector Garcia. I've been watching everybody. So that right there lets you know that, like, because for a long time I haven't been really doing any like tape studying, as you may call it, but like unless it's for commentating. But like once I get that itch back, I start to really okay. Let me look at the division, and I'm watching everybody in the division, whether they friend or not. But I'm still going to watch them because it might be somebody that I might have to see in the future.
The division's on notice.
Yeah. And on that note, JAMEL Herring, I cannot wait to see you back out. We will have you back imminently, sir. When it's official, we'll get you back on.
We'll back when it's official. Dude. Hopefully that's soon.
Mate, absolute blessings. Like, thank you so much for joining us, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. You respect you guys, man. We'll talk soon.